says that he's going to throw his weight, just like he has done, behind his father. So, the question we are posing is that President Museveni, as a leader of Uganda, at 80 and above, what kind of leader will Ugandans, have in him? Or Tim Levy here is trying to, yeah, you sound objective, by the way, because I was listening to you and his wife, you kind of, showed that here you're not impressed, like the thing of, bottles, where he was teaching Ugandans how to do irrigation using
the bottlenecks,
Imagine that.
Yes.
In the 21st century.
In the 21st century, and then in the current
modern... Countries are industrializing. They are going commercial. Uganda is, of course, we are an agro-based country, an agricultural country. And so we should be looking forward to how we can improve that. But when you come up with such things, you're taking us backwards. Those are primitive, methods. They won't enable a high production of food that we could have and also sell, and so that we can, get enough money.
You see,
for the country.
One thing is that, like I was earlier stating, you see, as a country we can really develop. But also it should come with a very serious, it should come with collective effort from the leadership to help us grow. And we should move from the rhetoric way of handling things into proactiveness in how we want to move. That is if we really want to develop. Uganda as a country, we cannot be literally almost living in analog in every form of means, possibly from infrastructure, that's transportation. You see what is happening to Tanzania? The SGR. Rather, what is... what is the delay?
For them, they have succeeded. For us, we are still...
What is happening to Kenya? And
by the way, wait, you just reminded me. The three presidents, our own, the former president of Kenya, that's Uhuru Kenyatta, and also the former president of Tanzania. Now, not the former, but the current, Samia Suluhu.
Yes.
The three of them came together and launched this, SGR.
Yes.
And they're moving, they're progressing.
The other two are progressing. I don't know the frustration.
Where are we?
One is that, first of all, our railway equipment, or rather the infrastructure, was so dilapidated, and they had to renew. Now, the purchase of the trains, or rather the engines, I don't know how they call them, those engine heads and so on. They also brought something that was bigger than our rails. And that is bad. We need to do that. There's some big level of improvement, because literally these days you can move from Kampala up to Namavi. But we want something beyond that. Yes, we want something beyond that. People need to see how this can take them to via Tororo, via Jinja,
to
Kisumu, and proceed up to Arua. In Tanzania, people work in Dodoma but sleep in Dar es Salaam. They sleep in Arusha.
People work in Nairobi and they stay in Mombasa.
Yes, it's 4 hours, a move. So when you have to wake up at possibly 5 and possibly you catch the first train, by 8 you're already in office.
At least that I experienced.
Now for Tanzania,
I sweat myself.
For Tanzania, it's 1 hour from this to the other side. That's what people do.
That's what they do.
That if I want, I can sleep in Soroti, and then I'm working in Kampala. So by 5:30, I'm already in the train, and coming.
But
to
with the bus, you could still do that, can't you?
With the bus, where will you reach the bus the other side? By the time you are leaving the other side, is that you reach here at even noon, because there's jam and so on.
I know.
With the train, you don't have that. But what I'm talking about is that. Look at their electricity infrastructure. They have literally something lesser than us. It's only a few cities in Tanzania that are connected to the national grid. The other areas still lack power, access to power. But they have managed to be very creative. One is because they have minimized on the level of corruption. And that was from the times of Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, advocating, using their socialism
policies. The
Ujamaa. So it has really helped them, and it has benefited them. That today you are in Tanzania, and literally it looks like you are in a European country. We really don't have we really don't have to go to Europe if you want to get these services. They have
You're praising Tanzania.
no, they have medical facility, but no, you do comparative analysis.
Okay, you mean you compare to Uganda?
You compare this within the East African bloc, which among the economies should we be able to project and possibly do case studies with? They have hospital facilities that were built there. Just using, I think, a minimum of $80 million, they have a facility there that can do heart, transplants, kidneys, and so on. The same thing that Luboa here, which has swallowed a lot of money, should be able to do.
You realize your team. So why we are where we are and why they are where they are. And there is that one problem we have here that maybe they don't have, and that is corruption. It could be there, but ours is at a higher magnitude. Now, look at the examples even you're giving. What has frustrated those things
in Tanzania during the days of Pombe Magufuli? You see what he would do.
I know.
He would go,
and you just mentioned Luboa here.
He would go to an area and listen to the citizens. The president will listen to you. And if they say that this RDC is the one who is frustrating government programs in this area, he will put you in his car, bring you, and then transfer you to another district. With the Pombe Magufuli, the late John Pombe Magufuli, if they called him that this, Your Excellency, ever since you launched this thing, this minister or this permanent secretary has never come here to even do an assessment of how he's busy distributing money to the contractor. He would call you on phone and put you on microphone, and you are speaking to on microphone. And he will even tell you that should you fail to do this within 1 or 2 weeks of the anticipated time, you are leaving office.
And in Uganda,
that is the type of leadership.
How are things done?
That is the type of leadership that we need in Uganda here. You're not going to pamper these people.
Comparative analysis. Yeah,
because one, the political leaders we have here are rotational people. Today you're a member of parliament, and after 5 years, everybody doesn't want to see you in the constituency. I've witnessed this. You were a member of parliament here, but when you go back to the community after 4 years, nobody even wants to see you. People are abusing you.
Why is that?
No, it's just the ideology that people, of course, when people are electing you as a leader, they anticipate that whatever you told them, possibly in your manifesto, and then your ideas have not been fulfilled.
If that is about the
only problem,
if that is what is happening about the member of parliament, what about the president, who's been here? And I can remind this.
But it's the one who has been advocating for these things, commercialization of politics. You're giving members of parliament money, kickbacks to go to the community and do this. I'm not going to stand with him and say the president has done really well in this and that. But I'm telling you the truth. If your constituents
don't want to associate with their member of parliament, whom they feel that they have not fulfilled their manifesto, and yet they've been there for just 5 years. What about a president who's been here for close to 40 years and is promised a number of things, and whatever he has promised, he has not delivered?
But I'm seeing there are presidents that have been doing very well. You see, Muammar Gaddafi was there for how long? But if you see Libya, there was free education, free medical care. There was a strong insurance policy that was growing. The imperialists are the ones that came and eliminated Gaddafi because he was making Libya a first world African country. You know that very well. And one is that he did not in any way, was not in any way in the same bed with them, but rather he was a part of the Arab world. Now, these people fear, and they will come and fight you. Because one is that if you don't have any loans with IMF, don't have any loans with World Bank, of which our president today will say he has signed an anti-homosexual bill, but tomorrow the World Bank will come and say that, you see, the president is a very good man, and one of the best presidents we have in Africa. We have a loan of 800 million, possibly 800 million euros that has been approved by World Bank. And then they're the same people that cut off this. So that is very funny. Muammar Gaddafi was even beginning to lend money to other African countries. Do you know what it means to lend money? He began talking of, we as Africa should use one currency point. Now our president is a very wise man. He will mention, like he went to Kenya and he talked about sustainability. And he watered down the conference that was organized by, I think, World Bank or IMF. I don't know, one of the two. About sustainability, where we reached the SDGs. He told them that these SDGs are not favoring anybody. We need growth. It should be from
They
the
started going to and it was like,
in stages.
why should it be standard?
It should be in stages. That's how the president watered down. But when he came here, the same IMF people followed him to the country. One is because they consider him as a kingmaker. One, the oldest president and the longest serving president in the whole of East, the East African bloc.
What even you understand?
He has his political influence in Tanzania indirectly through bringing the lady. And then also
in your understanding, Mr. Tim,
yes.
Why would these people still want to associate with President Museveni when at times that is actually harsh to them? Let me remind you, I think one time, was it a swearing-in ceremony at Kolo Airstrip?
When he denounced and the European Union delegates walked away.
Yes, he referred to the ICC as a bunch of useless people. This upset them that they had to walk away.
Yes.
Just after 2 days or 3 days, they're in the State House talking with him. And I was like...
You see, the president has, like I told you, he uses the art of manipulation. And two, the other one also is the principals, Machiavelli. Deal with them, both at arm's length and then short. He knows how to play that politics. I can bring Edrisa close, but then I'm going to bring Levy much closer to handle them. He knows how to press the buttons. Now, he will press a button there, trigger you to become very emotional, and then bring you closer, and then strike a deal or one with you, just to condense you. But he's playing a very nice game with all these countries. He has China here, he has Russia here, doesn't have any problems with them. And then he has the Americans are a little close with him, though he doesn't agree mostly with their policies and so on. Normally deals now with these ones. Then he has the Arabs also closer to him. Now, that is a very difficult person for you to deal with.
His son
and
the other
that's
day.
why you are seeing that he's able to control and then lead us for this long.
His son the other day, you saw his tweets.
And also
today.
on this side, before the son comes in, his policies might be very good. But the implementers, the people that he has chosen to implement on his behalf, are not doing the real work.
Oh, wait. You also want to exempt him.
No, but this power
I've heard some Ugandans say, Luganda president is not a bad man, but those he's working with. That's what you're trying to say.
Of course, you see.
That's the narrative you're pushing.
In one way or another, he has his own ways in how he handles politics. And the people that he has
But Tim, what do you do if you're a manager and your subordinates, you feel or you can see that they are not implementing what you're asking them to do? What do you do?
Because I demote them or rather fire them and so on. But for him, he's playing the gimmick of keeping them.
And he keeps them, and then he wants us to exempt him from this mess. Anyhow, I wanted to point out this out to you. His son the other day, he made yet another controversial tweet where he was swinging, hitting with Americans, where he was like they should apologize to us for, removing us from AGOA. And he also said that they should even compensate for our people in Somalia, for our men and women in UPDF.
Who were lost.
Well, yes, and one would be wondering, under what arrangement is the UPDF in Somalia? That's under AMISOM. And now, the other was African Mission in Somalia. And now this is African Transition Mission in Somalia. Those are the arrangements under which we are in Somalia. Supported by the United States, of course. But why do you want to put, the whole blame to hold the U.S. accountable, for the loss of your men and women in uniform? It's as if you're implying that you're out there under the U.S. mission.
You see, that is very funny. And also leaving out the aspect of, the financial benefit or financial aspect. When the USA came and was trying to consult the East African, peacekeeping mission on how or rather the East African, community, on how they can come and then salvage or sort out the situation of Somalia. But then you see the Americans had tried as much as possible, but they could not even, or they did not manage in subduing the rebel activities within, because you are dealing with two different, systems: terrorism and then the pirates, those that are busy robbing the ships and so on. Yes. Now, they did not know the geopolitics of the country, and you need the neighbors. Kenya was consulted, Uganda also was consulted, and all this is in agreement, bilateral ties between the United States and then the other African neighbors in offering rather a reinforcement to the American, forces. But instead, America now decided and said that this is literally going on well, and pulled out. And left now us in the battle. The benefits have been there. Uganda as a country has been getting a lot of money from all these peacekeeping missions. Most of the soldiers that went there, some of whom are even my uncles in the village, they came with money. You go for a mission, you come back, you have your 70 million, you have your 100 million, you have your 40 million, and he's building up a house and so on. Then he's even looking for a way of how he can go back for another peacekeeping mission. So, rather, instead of blaming these people, you should be able to thank them that in one way or another, they helped.
And speak of
in
that,
the financial
and speak
benefit.
of that, have you also had this? In fact, one time I had the spokesperson of the 1st Division of the APDF. That's Mr. Kabona. I had him here, and I pointed this out to him. You must have heard of this rumor too, where they say that these people don't actually get the whole salary that they're entitled to, that the state here takes some percentage of their salary. Have you heard of something like that?
What was the response of the spokesperson?
Of course, being a PR officer, try to downplay that.
Of course, you see, for me,
but this is something I've heard
in my own opinion, you're not the first person that is telling me this. I've interacted even with them themselves. I have a cousin who went to Somalia, and I think what was written there should be, I think, $1,000, or I don't know how much money. But I think he got 30% or 40% of that money.
Seriously?
Yes.
So meaning that the other people take the biggest chunk of it?
It is one way that the government also benefits from the services that you're offering to.
But that's unfair.
Peacekeeping.
At least let's cut even, 50-50.
50-50 would have been very good. And I think, but
and it's still very unfair.
The way the army operates,
let us take 30%.
The way the army operates is one. They follow orders. And they have no objective, like objecting to anything. The only thing is that they have given you an order and you're going. And
that's an order.
You'll find that
your money.
this lot is coming back and this other lot really wants to go. Because they also want to go because the benefit.
The pay is still better,
yes,
even after those cuts.
The pay after the cuts is better. Because even the other side, when you're the other side, you also have that much, liberty of working, and then there's also that, the breaks and so on. Here, why most people want to run the other side? They are saying that the pay here is very bad to them. It's just that we have seen a current restructure when MK was appointed the CDF. We saw a structure where now there's some increment. I think millions are being earned by the commissioned officers somewhere and so on, according to ranks. Now we even have possibly 15 million being accorded to one of, I think, the highest commanding officers are now eating good money. But during the times of the Aronda Nyakaremas and so on, it was really low. Most of the generals would even get little money. But of course, the privileges that come with being a general and then a commanding officer, you have the benefits of fuel, medical insurance, and so on. So the allowances overlap the salary, which is beneficial and which is good. And then also the commanding factor, the army that is around you, controlling these units and so on, that is there. But all that we have spoken, and then when you're combining with the president's stay in power, of course, you also get to know that if anyone is factoring in, we should be able to really cluster or rather categorize these things. Where has the president put much focus in? Remember the country that possibly where the president picked Uganda from, we did not have, probably there was a minimal access. We're talking about infrastructure. But then also the infrastructure that we have, and I'm commenting, the infrastructure that we have in 2024 has come with a very heavy price. There's been a number of loans that have been picked to facilitate some of these activities.
Yet the infrastructure found here, those presidents were putting it in place using the country's money. Yeah,
using the country's money, and then also using the local, the local companies. Now, when you have most of these big companies, mostly like the ones who came and constructed the Entebbe Express, that was a Chinese cooperation. Most of that money is expatriated back to their countries. You will not have it in Uganda here. The only thing they will help you is to buy your raw materials. They buy your aggregate, and they buy possibly your cement, but most of the others are imported from abroad. So they leave you with the burden of. That's why you're seeing that we had a scenario where they wanted to either take our road or rather grab the airport so that they can pick money. But the government refused and said, we are going to pay you. That's why we have the toll. The toll.
Imagine reaching that extent where one wants to confiscate such an important facility because you have failed to service your loan.
It is very bad. Of course, you don't expect.
So that has all happened under the leadership of President Museveni.
Of course, you see, it has happened under his leadership. It's an open thing that we nearly lost that airport.
Which he found in place.
Yes. So now that we have UNRWA collecting billions of shillings, and then some of the money is for catering for the loan that will possibly be picked. A very expensive loan, because this is one of the most expensive roads we have in the world. A few trillions of shillings went there. And then now we have also another projection for Impiji Express. Then we have Ginger Express. So with all these anticipations, we expect that possibly the president is one person that has a proper agenda, because he has his vision 2040. And we are just in 2026. But now you are seeing, we also have another international airport here in Hoima. And I think that one is going to be specifically for big cargo planes that are shipping out these things. The forces or the oil. And but all that.
Let's pick it up from there after this break once again. We're taking another short break. But don't go, because the dialogue will continue shortly.
Uliyunganika kasatozi lyo witago kutumbula ekintu mu kuyimba kano kikasiirako BTM TV akuletedde Raise Your Mic yimba ate ensonga za kuyimbira ku live band ngate abawanguzi bakuwangulya ebirabo eby'enjawulo okuli obukadde bw'ensimbi 5 pikipiki kapyata okuliko dimba mu audio ne video n'ebirabo ebirala bingi obwetaba mu Raise Your Mic ge ku simu yo nyiga *277*407# olondeko option ya Raise Your Mic olondeko option ya participate osindike message buterevu ojja kuba weetabe mu auditions wano ku BTM TV abaana babayisemu ku mutendero oguddako bakulondebwa abalabi baffe aba BTM era beewangulira ebirabo biwugiddwa Simba Automotives ne bikutusibwako BTM TV.
Discover your voice at WOMCAT School of Journalism and Mass Communication. We are now accepting applications for our August intake. Join us to gain hands-on experience from industry experts and build a career in media through our dynamic diploma, certificate, and short courses. Acquire cutting-edge journalism skills on the over 28 years of training future industry leaders. Start your journey with us today. WOMCAT, where professionalism meets development.
Uganda, your #1 leading education newspaper, is back, bigger and better. With articles to fully suit the educational triangle from the government, schools and parents all over the country, aiming at answering the ever left out questions, not forgetting revision questions and answers set by experienced teachers to prepare students for their finals. The Learner newspaper is supplied to over 12,068 schools all over the country with affordable advertising rates. We offer many more services which include uniform and sweater tailoring, all with an aim of easing work for the educationists. Contact us on 0754 777 029 or 0774